Why buy into Apple? Now that's a tough question. What is up, guys, and welcome back to another Initial Focus video. And today we're taking a look back into the history and the 40 years of Apple. Not really. There are plenty of other documentaries out there who talk about the timeline and the history of Apple and everything, and I feel like by now most people kind of know the general gist, and most people have either decided to love or hate on Apple, and there's not really too much in the middle. This is more going to be a video of my journey into why I bought into Apple. So I had a iMac since about 2008. I believe that was my very first Apple product. I might have had an iPod before that, can't really remember, but I never thought too much of it. I knew it was an expensive and cool looking computer that was based around designers, photographers, filmmakers, and things like that. So it caught my eye, of course, and I got it for my birthday or Christmas. But that didn't really start my journey into looking into what actually Apple was and what it stood for. That all happened much later when I was a senior in high school. I was going through a very depressive time in my life, and long story short, ended up in the mental floor of a hospital. So that was fun. And while I was there for a little over a week, I picked up the Steve Jobs biography. I had actually started reading it prior to it, and then basically you have a lot of time while you're in the hospital, so I was able to read the entire book within that week or so, and I never read very much. I'm not much of a book person. I'm more of a visual person. Anyways, and I finished the Steve Jobs biography book by Walter Isaacson, and my entire outlook on life changed. There's always that debate over Steve Jobs, whether or not he was a total asshole or he was essentially a god. And I think most people, if you really look into the details, he was essentially both. He, like Elon Musk is today, cares so much about bettering humanity and bettering technology that he doesn't care so much about people's feelings, because if you think about it, like, people are like, oh, Steve Wozniak was, really the brains of Apple, and I completely agree with that. He's obviously a genius in his own right, but if it weren't for Steve Jobs, there would never have been an Apple, because Steve Wozniak didn't even want to market computers. He just kind of wanted to make it for him and his friends, and that is a fact in the book itself, quoted by Wozniak. And so Steve just had this amazing intellect of what a successful, not only business can look like, but how it can actually better everyone around him. And just going through all these different things of never stopping until perfection, and kind of the seeking of perfection. And you see that both with design and optimization of performance, showing that it's not all about flair and flash on the outside, but of what's on the inside. And Simon Sinek has a great TED Talk that involves Apple, and talking about how marketing, and if you watch a normal commercial, like I remember when the Microsoft Surface Pro first came out, and it was a bunch of people holding it and like breakdancing on tables. How does that have to do with technology or how this product itself betters anything? And then you watch a typical Apple commercial, and it's the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where it's so philosophical. They don't talk about, again, processors and graphics cards and RAM and all the computer techie stuff that I myself half enjoy nerding out about, but it focuses on how this product is going to change your life. And that's the important part to me. When I think back to the 1984 Macintosh, which is behind me here, it completely changed everything. It wasn't the first, personal computer. The mouse was borderline stolen from Xerox, and GUIs and the user interface. I mean, there's debates of where all that came from. You can debate until the end of the day, but the truth is that no one can dispute the fact that that computer and the iPod after that, the iMac when he first came back, the iPad and the iPhone completely changed the business world, the technology market in itself, and for me personally, changed my life. To sum up the entire book, it basically showed me that there are some people in this world that truly care about even the things you will never see. Steve Jobs learned it from his adopted father, who showed him one day when they were working on the fence on a farm or something, that even the part of the fence that is tucked away by the bushes and trees in the back is still important, because even though the average person on the street driving by will never see it, you know it's there and you will see it. I was an Apple employee for 3.5 years, and while I can't go too into it, every time I opened up a Mac computer, it was just beautiful. And I have opened up plenty of computers in my life. I love tinkering. I've opened up, desktop older PCs. I've helped my friends build custom PCs. Anything that comes from a manufacturer is just disgusting on the outside. You see the flashy ads, which are all CGI. It's not filming the real product anyway most of the time. And then you even see it in stores with big signs and lights and just so much flair. And then you start using the product, or you open it up and it's just nothing. It's a computer, and it has some cool plastic or maybe even metal nowadays on the outside, but that's really it. Apple goes through a whole separate process to coat its logic boards and all its component in kind of a matte black finish, and 99% of the people will never ever see that, but it looks badass. It's beautifully designed, the circuit boards are symmetrical, and it's just amazing. And that level of care, while it's completely unnecessary for the device's function, adds a whole new value to the product itself. And so when people ask me today, why do you love Apple so much? Do you think Apple's gonna succeed in the future? And honestly, right now, I am sitting on the fence. Where Apple is going, I have no idea. Most people have no idea. You can only speculate and share your opinions on it. But why I joined Apple many years ago, and why a lot of people still join Apple today, I think is far surpassed the reason of, why would I pay $1,300 for a Core M processor? So I'm going to end with this food for thought for both sides of the spectrum. If you are an Apple fan, or a fanboy or fangirl, or whatever you want to call it, why are you a fan of Apple? Why do you work for Apple? Why do you buy Apple products? What is the reason that brought you into it and keeps you into it? Because it is crazy expensive, and it is a very proprietary ecosystem that you will be sucked into very easily. But why should you buy into Apple today, yesterday, and even going into tomorrow? And if you are on the opposite ends of the spectrum and you are a diehard Android fan or custom PC maker, why are you so against Apple? Apple stood for the exact reason that you build your own custom PC, is to be rebellious, to go against the mass marketed products that don't live up to the hype or to the expectations of its consumers. And again, I'm not debating the fact that if today Apple is living up to that expectation, but that is literally what it stood for. The Think Different tattoo on my arm is from the '97 campaign when Steve Jobs first came back, talking about here's to the crazy ones. It's a fantastic speech. I'll link one of the amazing videos up here at the top. You build a custom PC or you get an Android phone so that you can be different and unique than everyone else out there. And obviously it's been this kind of tectonic shift where Apple has become the man or the mainstream that it used to fight against. And so I understand your clash and and kind of where you see Apple as the man now. Think about it for a second and just come up with your own opinion. Why are you really against Apple? And what have they really done lately to make you feel that way? Let me know down in the comments below what you think, how you feel about Apple, where you think it's going, and share any stories that you would like about why you either bought in or stayed away from Apple for so long. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.